All right, welcome in. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Football Friday.
It is.
We've got bowl games. We've got the Eagles. We've got Thursday night football. And God knows what else will jam into this next show here. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't subscribed. If you haven't, we'll love and want you to be a part of the show here. Harry Mays, Matt Cherico, I'm Eytan Shander. Where do you guys want to begin? I don't want to spend a ton recapping because I want to get into Friday, Saturday. We have a lot of plays, and it's all football and out to like maybe an NBA here or there at the end. So we're geeked up. We're jacked up. I'll start Thursday night football. It's hit now 6 straight times, and I continue to play it on a prime time. Amazingly, even with the third-string quarterback and all the shit that was happening with Tennessee, it still hits. First half field goal each team. It still stays at plus money. I'm amazed at that. Also, and I'm not shocked. I was just so surprised that it was such a sweat. But Dak finally threw an interception, I think, late first quarter?
Yeah.
So it
didn't take long.
Play. Right.
It didn't take long. He threw 2, I think.
He double-dipped.
Yeah, he did. He threw 2, and he's double digits correct. So those are the ones we talked about on the show. Those are the ones I wanted to get out for Thursday night football. And Harry, have at it.
No, I'm just trying to figure out if this was like a strike game with that roster that Tennessee put on the field last night. I mean, it was amazing. It was almost like it was during like one of the NFL strike teams. Like, where did they come up with this quarterback? He wasn't even on the roster like a week ago, and no Derrick Henry, and it's almost like they're just saying, screw it, we're just going to try to put together a team for Week 18 and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I looked at this team and I felt for Mike Vrabel as they were walking out there. Like, this guy, they showed him at probably 5 minutes into the game, did a little interview, and I was like, this poor man has no desire to be coaching that football team right now. He's just there getting through it. And I mean, after that game, not only from a Titan standpoint, but I looked at the Cowboys, like, I can't see these guys going that far.
No.
That type of performance against third stringers. I mean,
they
looked
Zeke?
awful. Yeah, I mean,
more to carry or something. It was unbelievable.
Well, that defense, though, I mean, that's the thing, though, is their rush defense hasn't been brutal by any means, right? The
Tennessee, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I felt for the fans.
Well, what were you going to do? You were going to start guys in a meaningless football game?
No, but I'm just saying I felt for the fans. You figure you get those tickets thinking, oh, man, we're going to go see Titans Cowboy. You're a Titans fan. You're like all fired up for a Week 17 game, and then you look at your team. You're like, who are these guys? It's like a preseason game.
If the same scenario, though, played out with the Philadelphia Eagles, wouldn't you, if you were going to that game, wouldn't you understand that it's in your best interest?
I don't want to understand.
You don't?
No. I refuse to understand.
You refuse to understand?
Yes.
Look, Doug Peter, I already jumped on. I don't know what it is right now. I don't think it's moved yet because Doug Peterson isn't saying anything. But, I'm already on Houston. I'm on Houston plus 4.5. I'm on Houston in a Dallas-Houston money line parlay. I'm on Houston on a teaser because Jacksonville should be doing the exact same thing as the Tennessee Titans did and saying it does not matter. You gain nothing from Trevor Lawrence and these guys being out there. We saw, like, if this were really about something, gaining something, you would have put Malik Willis out there just to see what he can do and all these other things. They went to Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What does that say? What they think about Malik Willis, or is it? I mean, really?
No, okay. So my personal answer to that, and I don't know where Matt and you stand on this, Harry, but real quick before we start looking at some stuff moving forward, I think Mike Vrabel doesn't have a quarterback right now. Ryan Tannehill's out.
Right.
Malik Willis is not game ready right now. Joshua Dobbs has been in the NFL long enough to where if he had a week to prepare and play, maybe he can just not lose a game against the Jaguars. That, in self-preservation mode, if you're Mike Vrabel, I think is why Josh Dobbs started and not Malik Willis.
Okay. I almost think they don't want to crush the confidence of Malik Willis, too. I mean, you stick him out there with a third-string O-line, the kid's going to be running for his life all game. You're a higher chance of risking injury. And, I mean, is he really going to get his game off, with no Derrick Henry and his number one receivers, Robert Woods, like the corpse of Robert Woods? Like, I don't know. I understand the point Vrabel made not starting him. So, I mean, I thought Dobbs' arm also looked pretty good. He was throwing some solid balls last night.
Absolutely. And
Al Michaels had his 3-13 energy last night, man. He was just like a team going into Week 17 at 3-13. Like, I'm shot.
He's done. He's done. He sat. they might as well have sat Al Michaels last night.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Exactly.
Right? All right, let's work in chronological order here. All right. By the way, I don't know. Did anybody catch this last night? So about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours before kick, Texas announces that their top 2 running backs, including Bijan, who's their best player, you could argue overall, right, out for this game. It wasn't official by any means until like a couple of hours out for this game. And then the line doesn't move. I jumped on Washington earlier in the day, and I thought, okay, well, I'm great now because Washington's going to close as maybe like a -1, 1.5. It actually closed at Washington +3.5. I don't know. It was just bizarre. I don't know if either of you guys caught that. If not,
no,
it's fine. But I thought it was a little bizarre that a team would announce their top 2 or at least their best player would be out. It didn't move. But we've got football today. In fact, we have 4, right, across the board today to look at on this Friday, December 30th. And the biggest one for me, I just look, man, I'm doing it. I'm biting it. I'm taking the bait. Sorry. I know the line has already moved, but I took South Carolina +3.5. Notre Dame doesn't have a quarterback. They don't. So that's what I'm going on.
No, I mean, it's hard to go against that, except if there is a trend for Notre Dame.
Oh, jeez.
They're 9-1 in their last 10 games against the number as favorites of 7 points or less, for what it's worth. But I'm with you. I'm going with the Gamecocks because I think the Gamecocks are going to show up really wanting to win the game. I mean, this means a lot for them. They've been on they finished the season on a big upward tick with a couple of big wins over Tennessee and over Clemson in the rivalry game. And, they've got something going there. This is a nice little team in the SEC East coming forward for next year. And I think they're going to use this as a springboard, and no better way than to beat the Irish with the gold helmets.
Yeah, I'm piggybacking with that. My first pick in this game is going to be Spencer Rattler over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That's in at +105. So I really like the value of plus money there. I don't think that the secondary of Notre Dame is going to be able to handle Spencer Rattler, especially seeing that he seemed to improve every game down the stretch as of late. And that was a big thing with him, was the accountability coming into the season. Was he going to be the guy? It's almost like that Zach Wilson scenario in New York.
A lot of hype.
It's all hype. And it's like, when it comes down to it, can you back up, all this bragging that you do on social media? He's been good as of late, and I expect him to continue that into this game.
Beamer's done a great job with the Gamecocks.
Yeah. No, you're right. And anything else today before we move on to the
nothing today? I'm kind of throwing my hands up with a lot of these games. I've been on the wrong side of a couple of them, except for the Kansas game.
What about Pitt +8? That's a big number.
It is, but their quarterback is no longer there. Slovis left.
So right, but
he's going to BYU.
He banged up a little bit this year. Like, did he play?
Yeah,
he missed.
They haven't been good. I mean, this has been a real. Not a good year for them.
Neither has their opponent, though, to be fair.
Well, that's true. Yeah, laying 8's that's a big number.
All right. Now, weekend action before we hit Saturday or Sunday, our Philadelphia Eagles and beyond. We have the 2 college playoff games. Ohio State seems to be the right play for a lot of smart people, sharp people, what have you. So take that for what it's worth. And I guess we should just start there. And it just looked like with both of you guys that you agreed Ohio State would be the right side there.
For some reason, maybe it's because I want to see Ohio State and Michigan in the championship game. I think that Ohio State has a chance to win this damn game. And take them with the 6.5. I'm going to tease them with Michigan too. I'm taking Ohio State up to 12.5, and I took Michigan down to 1.5. I just want to. I'm wishing it into existence, Eytan. And you know what that future line is? The look-ahead line for Ohio State and Michigan: Buckeyes -3.
Well, I'm surprised they're laying 3 there.
Yes.
Interesting.
I just saw it this morning.
So I'm throwing together right now a little bit of a 2-legger. I'm going with a total right now of an alternate total of over 55.5. And then I threw a second leg on there of Ohio State +9.5. And then those together, you get +115. So I think it gives you a little bit of a safer cushion. Like you guys are saying, I think this is going to be a little bit grittier of a game. I don't think Georgia has seen a team as gritty as Ohio State, especially as of late too. We saw in the garbage time game against LSU how this Georgia team could give up points relatively fast. So when they kind of come off the brakes or come off the gas a little bit and pump the brakes on their offense, I could easily see Ohio State creeping up on them and, coming when it's not expected.
Yeah, this was at 7 for a couple of brief moments. It's dropped to 6.5. It's the lone key number left, but I think I'm willing to take that risk, even at 6.5.
If Ohio State's offensive line can hold up, I mean, they've got talent, coming out of their ears.
I just, you see like a 7-point cover here. But again, like Georgia is such a heavy bet favorite that it's probably a 6-point game. Like that's probably what happens, where all that money line dough that comes in on Georgia hits some sort of single/parlay ticket. Yet they don't cover that. They lose, or they only win by 6.
Now there is a bowl trend for the Bulldogs. Georgia 9-2 straight up and 8-3 against the number against the Big Ten in bowl games.
Well, they were taking on, how many of those were Ohio State?
I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know if there was one.
Probably not, right? Because like the last time Georgia would take on a Big Ten team, Big Ten hasn't made the playoffs.
No, right. I mean, this would have been like Outback Bowls, Gator Bowl, something like that.
All right, I'm going to take Georgia. I'm going to take Ohio State with you plus 6.5, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see on this other game. It's been bet down 2 points. It's probably going to be down 2.5 points by kick. A lot of money has been on Michigan, yet the line has moved in their favor. So reverse line, all the stuff that people try and say and justify them being on the public side. This is a heavy public favorite that has been bet down. So I don't know what to make of that right now. And I'm okay just waiting and watching and jumping in this thing live.
Yeah, I was looking at this game last night, actually, and I was thinking, this is where Michigan comes in and they just blow them out. But then like you're saying, I started looking at this line movement, started looking on social media, what everybody else is thinking, and everybody was thinking the exact same thing, and that skewed me away from it entirely. And then I thought, you know what, TCU, they've had this kind of Cinderella run going on earlier in the season. You can't put it fully past them. I agree. I'm just going to let this one play out a little bit.
They're kind of like the Vikings.
They are. They got purple.
They're purple.
I agree. But here's the thing, like the Vikings coming into their playoff game, even if it was like their second playoff game and they're on the road or whatever the circumstances are when they finish, the entire conversation would be about Cousins and how the Vikings are hollow, and it's only a matter of time before the other foot drops, with the Cinderella analogy. But then would it shock you if they did come out and win and beat even the Eagles?
No.
Shock, right? Like that's where I think the analogy kind of holds with TCU, where we're all expecting them to get handled in this big moment. But I don't think any of us, the three of us, would be shocked if TCU won this game outright.
No, this Duggan kid has some magic, man.
Yeah, and I really like Quentin
does.
Johnston, too. He 6'4", 215-pound receiver. I think coming out of this class, I think he's going to be one of the top prospects. I mean, the physicality that he has and possesses when he goes up for a jump ball, he reminds me of a Keenan Allen, Mike Evans type of build. So I'm really excited to see him in the NFL.
All right, speaking of which, let's hit the NFL here, and we'll start with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm just amazed that at a 6.5-point line, people still believe that Jalen Hurts is playing. So either I am totally off and I have totally misread this thing from a completely far away distance to where I'm blind, or people are just saw Jalen Hurts return to practice on Thursday and thought, okay, he's playing. How? And answer me this. How would Jalen Hurts be active in a must-win game with this Eagles team who's only lost one before Hurts got hurt, went down, at home? And I get it. Like the Saints have won 2 straight. Their defense is there. Andy Dalton's 3-0 straight up against the spread against the Eagles, including 1-0 in Philly, all that. But how would they only be a 6.5-point home favorite? With the healthy Hurts.
That's a fair point. You'd think it'd be about 7.5, wouldn't you?
Harry,
7.5 or 8?
Closer to 10.
Really?
Yeah, I think so too.
Wow.
The only thing that's changed in their record was the loss because Hurts was out. Before Hurts got hurt, this team was cooking.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this game almost like I'm not anticipating, Andy Dalton, the red rifle, to come out firing like that. I really think that this is somewhat of a bounce back game, especially for the Eagles secondary. I was looking for an Andy Dalton interception right now and minus 105 for him to throw one. I really think this is going to be a bounce back game for, Maddox, Slay. They need to get right in this scenario.
Maddox isn't
Get
playing.
their eyes.
No, Maddox
Oh,
is
he's
out,
he's
right?
out now.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay.
And
So
so
I
is
really
Lane
think
Johnson.
I think regardless, though, this is a opportunity where you have a quarterback like Andy Dalton who somewhat has stagnancy in the pocket. You could take advantage of that, jump one of the lanes early. I really like him to throw an interception. I think he's due.
Look, man, I'm waiting for this thing to hit 7, and I'm going to take New Orleans. It was at 7. PGF, I was doing something with Sports Map. You guys were on there, too, so we had the PGF on there. He right at the end said, I like him at 7. I went to go check. It was down to 6.5 already. At 7, I will take New Orleans in this game with the anticipation, of course, that Gardner Minshew is playing. Doesn't mean that Dalton can't throw a pick, so I'm definitely
Right. No, I like the pick.
3-0 straight up against the spread versus Philadelphia. In the 3 games that Andy Dalton has played, point totals of 34, 32, and 37. New Orleans put up 29 points last year. Do you remember who the quarterback was last year for New Orleans?
I do not.
Watch out for Trevor Siemian.
Oh, my goodness. Really?
Trevor Siemian. Look,
Wow.
New Orleans has held their opponents in their last 4 games to 18 or less points. Each of their last 4 games, they've held opponents to 18 or less points. You can line up all the stinkers that you want, but the Eagles have played some stinkers in their schedule as well. They've held each of their last 6 opponents to 20 or less points. So I think the under is in play here, and I think the New Orleans Saints at +7 would be my play, but I'm looking hard at the under too.
Yeah, the Saints pass defense is pretty good. They just don't turn you over. They don't have a lot of interceptions, but they're pretty good against the pass. So I kind of like that under too. I'm going to tease the Eagles. I can't resist. I told you about this earlier in the week. I'm teasing them and the Vikings. I'm taking the Vikings up to now they're at 9.5 and the Eagles at -0.5.
Boy,
Okay.
All right. You didn't go through 0 though.
No.
Okay. All right. Since we're doing our teasers, let's have at it. One more time for you, Harry. The teaser.
I'm
It's
going
a
with
two-leg
the
teaser.
Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. I'm taking them down and I'm taking the Vikings up.
So it's a -120.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. And look, I think people look at teasers and they try to add and add and add. Nothing wrong with a -120 2-leg teaser. You've helped yourself out. All right, I have the Giants as a pick'em, Arizona +9.5, Carolina +9, and Houston +10.5.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm looking at something with the Kansas City Chiefs because I think a game in Arrowhead against Russell Wilson and the Broncos, I think they're going to be all over this one. I'm looking to drop them to about 10 just to be comfortable there. I think 12.5 is a little bit of a high number. I'm looking at that one. And then I also really like the New England Patriots going up against the Dolphins this week. The Dolphins defense, we said they looked great in Buffalo in those cold temperatures, and then they've been absolutely just lackluster ever since. So I think now, obviously with Tua out, I think this is a game in Gillette that the Patriots are going to start getting right again.
Well, let me start here on my end because I am on the opposite. Now I have Miami +3. So what did you get New England at? It was at -2.
I was just taking the money line at -154.
I waited and I got Miami now at +3. It was on FanDuel, -115. And my thought process is actually New England. And the biggest thing that I have with this game is their offensive coordinator. I cannot trust this team's offense now moving forward. Teddy Bridgewater's different than Tua, and Teddy Bridgewater is going to be asked to do different things. Teddy was fine before he got hurt. And once he got hurt, there's some issues there. So I'll go with my son's namesake here. How can I not, right? There's a guy named Teddy playing, but I'll take Miami +3. I told you about Houston +4.5. 3 other ones real quick for you. I'll give you a rapid fire, Harry. I know you got some NFL stuff too. Carolina +3. I don't know how you don't take Tom Brady. We talked about this, right? Way back since week 3. Tom Brady is 1-11-1 against the spread since Gisele Bündchen announced through the media that she will divorce Tom Brady. How can you continue to now put money on Brady? Doesn't make any sense. I'll take Carolina +3. Look, I don't care if it's Penn State's finest, but it looks to be Colt McCoy back. Arizona +3.5 in this game against an Atlanta quarterback who has yet to throw or run for an NFL touchdown. Laying 3.5. Sorry, I'll take Arizona, who covered, mind you, against Tampa. And the last one for you all out there, over. I moved this a little bit. I moved it below 51, so I paid a little more for this, but I'm fine doing that. Over 50.5 in the Detroit game. Two of the worst statistical defenses in the NFL going at it, so I went over 50.5.
Love the Lions in an over situation. You can always talk me into that. And I told you guys earlier in the week, Sunday, I actually grabbed the Kansas City Chiefs minus 10.
Yes, you did.
I don't know what it's at now, 13, 14, whatever it is, but I told you that stat. NFL home favorites of 10 or more against divisional opponents are 38-3 straight up, 26-14-1 against the number in the final 3 weeks of the season, all the way back to 2012.
Wow. Yeah, no, I can't
Love
hate it.
that,
I got one more that I was looking at. San Francisco 49ers against the Raiders. That's sitting at 9.5, so relatively high already. But I really like where the 49ers have put themselves right now. They kind of have that wild card aspect to them with Brock Purdy. And obviously Kyle Shanahan, an absolute mastermind. And this is the first week of no Derek Carr. So I think that right there is a reflection that they don't know what this Raiders team is going to come out and do. So I like that. And then I also, suspiciously enough, like the over. Even though it's at 41.5, I think that they're still going to be finding ways to score points, whether it's the 49ers putting up 30 and then, they give you 10 points. It's, either way, we'll take it. I could just still see over 41.5 in here.
Wasn't that 6.5 for the Niners? Is that up to 9.5 now? Because it's Jarrett Stidham?
It's Stidham, correct.
Yeah, well, that's a Josh McDaniels ego game because he had Stidham at New England, and he thinks that he's going to be able to show off here because Derek Carr is not part of their future.
Yeah, and we're getting Devontae Adams quotes now, him being a little bit disgruntled with it, too. It's all, everything's
Watch out
going
for
south
Derek
over there.
Carr with Washington next year.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Not
Watch
bad.
out for Brady too, Las Vegas.
Watch out.
All right, we're out of here. Anything you want? Real quick, I'll just leave you with this. Tyrese Maxey is playing on a Friday night in New Orleans. It seems to have moved the line a full point. I don't see that. I'll take the Pelicans. We know Brandon Ingram wasn't going to play anyway. Herb Jones looks to be probable. I'll take the Pelicans +1. Not on the money line, +1 at home against the Sixers.
Yep. NBA wise, went 2-0 the other night. Giannis came through for us. He had that double-double in the first half. I mean, he's just a specimen out there. Tonight, I'm going to be rolling with them to cover the -6.5 against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are playing good basketball, but against a team like Milwaukee, I just imagine that Drew Holiday is going to be doing his best effort to stop that backcourt from scoring. We've been seeing D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. They're starting to get a little more chemistry, but there still is a lot going on back there with who's sharing the rock. So I think that overall Milwaukee is the head and shoulders better team. I'm going to be taking them -6.5, and then in a bounce back game, I'm going to be taking the Toronto Raptors on the money line against the Phoenix Suns. I had the Raptors in a close game yesterday. It was brutal. They should have came out with that, and then in Toronto against the Suns with no Devin Booker, I really like the spot they're in to bounce back today.
Love it. And I was there with you too. So you were not alone with that stupid Raptors effort, but I like the bounce back there as well. All right. We'll see you on Twitter. We'll see you here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Thumbs up, subscribe. We love you all. Thank you for being part of the Philly Voice Sports Bet Show. Have a great, happy, healthy New Year.